Like a machete-wielding madman, a short fiction. Over a period of some 15 years, the poet's unrequited love for Lady Helen Mayfair produced some of his most poignant, most celebrated and most memorable verse. His first collection, Rejection's Insipid Fingers, published by Ransom House, was youthful and explicit on this theme, full of his bold imagery. But his second and third books matured into deeper ruminations on the thwarted dreams of human endeavour. The long poem, At a Bus Stop in Paddington, is regarded as perhaps his most self-exploring paean to Lady Helen's beauty, outer and inner. For her part, Lady Helen tormented him by remaining resolutely unmarried. By disposition she had no time for poets, and the social pages whispered instead of her connections with various tennis players. The rumours sometimes drove the forlorn poet mad. He took up tennis to impress her, and worked through it with a long series of tennis-themed quatrains, later published under the title 40 Love. Then someone told him she was implicated with an airline pilot. She moved on from tennis players to aviators. In this entire time, Lady Helen declined his correspondence and privately remarked that if he wasn't one of the King's favourite poets, she might regard him as a nuisance. But he grew more slippery on his own handrails and more desperate. There were poems about how the years kept turning and how that moment of exquisite beauty would soon be passing, because all things must. Then, after a lull, in the June edition of the Huntingdale Muse Review, he published this. Like a machete-wielding madman, my feelings for you run rampant, disrespecting borders, bearing flags of merciless expansion. Like zombies staggering in the mist, and horrific anxiousness numbs the belly of my affections. Like a crazed bomber hurling his underestimations of existence from a girdle of TNT, thus I am a fundamentalist for you. Like a demoniac, eerie, creeping aghast, my longing frightens every loose sense of normal to reveal a hidden destiny. There is nothing average in my trust. Stark passion stirs the skyward lover. Like a lunatic with a machine gun, I have given up on keeping calm. On reflection, this was not just a sudden detour in his style, a watershed in his au revoir, a bold abandonment of all his poetic fortitudes. It was a warning. Like all unrequited poets, he lived alone, slept on the couch like a bum, and hated himself every morning. But none of that flashes warning signs. This poem tells us he was ripe to do something rash. He had lost all patience. He needed to do something. The poem seemed to threaten a mall shooting, but the rash act took the form of a sonnet to Helen, pledging yet again his undying love. It was in the contemporary style. The final couplet was, "And now you know, my lady, why I would inscribe your name upon the sky." Then he stole a light plane, a signwriter, and flew above Lady Helen's broad estate to write his sonnet on the cloudless blue. He had given up on keeping calm. He was throwing all caution to the gusting gales. With his feelings running rampant, he disrespected borders. But he was a poet, alas, and not an aviator. He was as bad at flying planes as he was at tennis. He only managed to inscribe from the title "To Hell" with the letter E unfinished, at which point, flying like a machete-wielding madman, he ploughed the plane into a hill and met his demise. The king was upset. Now there is a debate as to whether Like a Machete-Wielding Madman or To Helen or just To Hell is his final work.